Welcome back to my channel for the third in a series of 5 videos about the Sacral Center. If this is the first video you're seeing in this series, my recommendation is that you go and you watch at least the first one so that you get kind of the overall of what this series is all about. The Sacral Center is the center for life force energy, and it is the most powerful engine in the chart. Generators and manifesting generators have this center defined or colored in their chart. It'll be red if it is colored in on your chart. But this is a vital center for everyone, whatever your type is, because if you have it undefined in your chart, you're going to pick it up from people who have it defined and you're going to amplify it. So it's a really, really important center for you to understand and for you to be looking at what are the particular activations that you have on your own sacral center, whether it's open or defined, because that will tell you a lot about how you're going to experience this energy. Okay, and today we're going to talk about the knowing circuit moving through the sacral center. So let's go ahead and dive in. The sacral center is in the womb space, the belly space. It's also known as the hara or the dantian. It is really known as the power center in whatever energy system and in whatever energy wisdom tradition that you are a part of will recognize that this part of the body is really, really a powerful place. So, of course, human design recognizes it with the sacral center, but it is also like the second and third chakra, if you're familiar with the chakra system. And whatever your type is, it's really good to know how to stimulate this energy center, which is why I provide different videos on Kundalini Yoga here on my YouTube channel and also inside of my Becoming Sovereign Quantum Retreat Center and Global Community. We do live Kriya practices every month inside of that center. So if you're not familiar with that and you want to know how to really boost and build this powerful energy, whatever your type is, that would be really beneficial for you, and because we can all use this, and so many of us are tired, we're kind of overwhelmed and drained energetically. So knowing how to build your own energy in a really healthy way, not just with caffeine or sugar or something like that, but actually using breath practices and ancient yoga traditions, it'll really, really help. So today's video, we're going to focus on where the knowing circuit runs through the sacral center. So from the bottom, we have the 60 and 3 that comes up through the bottom of the sacral. And then the 14 comes off the top of the sacral, goes into the 2. So the knowing circuit is individual circuitry, and it is the largest of all the subcircuits in the chart. It's huge. You can see from this picture how big it is, right? Comes in through the top of the head, splits, goes around both sides of the body and up through the central channel. So it's a really big circuit, and it goes through every single center in the chart except for the will center. So it's really influencing the entire field. And the knowing circuit is highly intuitive. It is not rational, not logical, not reasonable, not strategic. It's none of those things, right? It's where you kind of just know things. Like you didn't learn it anywhere. Nobody told you, you didn't watch a video about it or read a book or anything like that. It's really where you just kind of know things. You also might be receiving downloads. You might receive really kind of out of the box insights, epiphanies, potentials that arise. My experience is a lot of times people actually ignore them because they don't really know what to do with them. In Western culture, we don't know how to honor our intuition and our ability to connect with superconsciousness and that creative intelligence of the universe that is constantly shining its light on us and wanting to give us more support and more guidance. But the knowing circuit is well worth getting to know. In fact, people who are in my Embody Your Human Design program that is live right now have been working with their intuition and their knowing circuit. And people who have been left brain dominant like their whole lives are having real breakthroughs working with their knowing circuit. So it's really worth it to get to know it. So in this one, we're going to just be looking at the 2 gates in particular and the 2 channels that run through the sacral center. So by the time the energy gets to the sacral center, like I said, it's come in, split, gone around, and then comes back up through that central channel. And it's when it's coming up through that central channel that it is going through the sacral center. Now, just a note here, I think the energy actually moves in different directions. I don't think it only moves in one direction. I think it also goes down and around, and then it goes out with our aspirations, and then we download it and we bring it in and bring it up and express. So there's not one simple way that it flows. But if we think about it coming up this way, it's useful because we can see that there's ways that this really leading edge breakthrough energy has come and has had quite a journey already by the time that it gets down into the root. So that's why the 60 is conservation. It's about being able to sort through all of these different mutative ideas, these like really, different ways of thinking about things, different perspectives, different possibilities and potentials. We want to be able to sort through those, right, before we send it up into the 3, which is ordering or innovation. I think innovation really makes sense. This is its quantum human design name. And it makes sense because we're kind of taking the best, what is most ripe, what is most on time, that has come through the knowing circuit to bring it up into the sacral. And we're going to innovate with that powerful life force energy that the sacral has. So innovation can be challenging at the beginning, which is actually the I Ching name for this gate is difficulty at the beginning, which totally makes sense, right? If you're innovating something that's really out of the box, like really different, it can be difficult at the beginning because let's remember in the knowing circuit, we have the genius freak gate, the 43, right? Which is up here. But it's the idea here is that the things that come through here, depending on when you share them, with whom you share them, and the situation, those ideas that you share can either be considered genius or freak, right? Because they're really different. And so the 3 is going to take the best of the best that the 60 has said, okay, we're going to go ahead and send this on. And then the 3 is going to innovate with it. It's going to use that powerful life force energy to do that. Then it's going to come out through that 14, which is known as power skills and creation, which I always find a little bit odd names. But what I take this to mean, so we're innovating and then we're creating, right? But the 14 is considered a kind of lucky gate. And it is very abundant in the sense that it attracts abundance, it attracts resources, it attracts opportunities, it attracts money, attracts resources of all kinds and supports when it's focused on service. Okay. And this is key. Like if you're really focusing on, I got to make money, I got to make money, I got to make money. The 14 doesn't really resonate with that. It's like, it's not my jam, right? My jam is innovating and creating and providing my service because it wants to be able to bring these really different ideas out into the world. It wants to help elevate, wants to help evolve our world. Just remembering that the evolutionary impulse of humanity runs through the individual circuitry and particularly through that knowing circuit. So this is evolutionary energy. And so it's primarily focused on helping to bring about the evolutions that we need right now. And do you think we need some things to evolve here on planet Earth right now? I think maybe we do. She says with more smoke coming from the fires in Northern California coming into our town, we're not in danger of fire or anything like that, but we are starting to get some fire. So yes, we do need to be evolving some things here on our planet right now. And we don't want to be driven by profit when we're doing it, because that's a lot of what got us into this situation in the first place. We want to be able to be innovative. We want to be able to think outside the box. And we want to be able to be really receiving in what this greater intelligence has to offer us so that we can break out of our attachments to things staying the way that they are. We can break out of our entitlement or our privilege or our fear that, oh no, if things change, we won't have what we need. And instead really focus on, what am I here to do? What am I here to offer? What is my contribution? What is my service? Right? This really gets strong up here at the top of the knowing circuit where we get purpose into contribution in the throat with the 1-8. Okay, that's coming out of the G center, but still it's being fueled by what's coming up through that sacral center. And the 14 is giving this power that is coming from the sacral center up into that G, and then it's going to come out as contribution, right? And so we want that to be at the very highest frequency that we can meet right now. And that is not going to be one that's driven by profit. That's actually not a particularly high frequency. What's really high frequency is service, is when we recognize that we here as, a very powerful species on the planet that has, done some stuff that's been not so great for the planet. It's our responsibility now to be shifting how we're working so that we can help to heal our planet and our ecosystems, including our own bodies and our relationships with each other and our relationships with the animals and the living world, so that we have a beautiful place for all of us to live and that we'd be proud to leave to future generations. This is the Thrutopian imperative, which is part of my book on feminine sovereignty, which is coming out really soon. And you'll be hearing more about that in a minute. These are two really important energies for all of us to know about, whether we have them colored in or defined in our charts or not, because just remember, you will have picked up and amplified these energies many, many times in the course of your life, even if you haven't had them, you don't have it defined, so you don't have ongoing, consistent relationship with it. So part of what you can do is just explore what are the different innovations that you are thinking about, and where can you put your energy so that you can bring those out into the world through service in terms of making your contribution, because this is what's going to support you coming through this knowing circuit. If you do have these defined in your chart, whether it's on a defined sacral or an open sacral, you do want to work with those energies as with all energies so that you are expressing really the most awakened and most empowered aspect of them. Because the 3 can kind of get caught in I don't know what to innovate. I'm not sure what to do. Asking the 60, what should I do? The 60 is try this. The 3 goes, okay, but I'm having difficulty with that. Goes back to the 60, says, what should I do? The 60 says, here, try this. And then the 3 has difficulty at the beginning. Can you see how that's kind of a negative loop? You don't want to get caught in that, okay? And then with the 14, if you get too focused on making profit, right, of really just being interested in creating money and not being interested in doing it through service, then the 14 gets kind of tight and a little miserly, and you don't want to do that because you actually lose the lucky quality of the 14, because the meat of the 14, remember, is the 2, which is all about allowing. It's receptive. It's letting in all the good that is coming to you. So you want to be able to have an active allowing 2 that's receiving the benefit that's being created by that 14. But if that 14 is really I've got to go out and make money, it's not a very allowing energy, right? And then the 2 isn't quite sure what to do with that. It feels a little bit off. So you just want to check these things out for yourself, because the soul curriculum of the entire chart is available to you, which is about how do we express these energies in a way that is good for you as an individual, is good for you and your beloveds, your family, your communities, the people close in. And then of course, for the larger collective, even though this isn't collective energy, the knowing circuit affects the collective massively, right? And so we want to be able to be aligned with that so that we're really doing the very best that we can and providing the very best that we can. And if you haven't already come and joined us in our Becoming Sovereign Quantum Retreat Center and Global Community, I invite you to come and check it out. The link to join will be in the description at the end of the video. It's totally free to join. There are aspects of it that are paid, like if it's for a program or something like that, but there's plenty in there. There's curated courses. There's live events every month. Like I said earlier, I do Kundalini yoga practice that you can come to, plus there's replays that you can access. There's a bunch of event replays already in there if you want to dive into special topics in human design. And I am doing an Ask Me Anything on September 7th, which is where you get to come and ask those niggling questions, or maybe big questions about human design, or about deconditioning, or about your personal and spiritual growth, about your inner healing, whatever it is. I'm game pretty much. Come and ask me. Okay. So the way to join that will be also at the end of the video and down in the description. So it's at noon Pacific time on September 7th. I hope to see you there. All right. Many blessings. Much love. Bye for now.